guys, Melissa here with TCT Crafts. Today we are going to make a cute little whimsical fake bake dessert. So we're going to be making this super fun whimsical little ice cream character. So this is what we're going to make today. We're going to be using some of our air dry foam clay. We're going to make one very similar to this design. We're just going to kind of alternate the colors. So I'm going to put the camera down and let's get started. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our little ice cream cup and spoon. So I ordered these off of Amazon. I will put my affiliate link in the comments or in the description of the tutorial in case you guys are looking for these. But we're going to go ahead and prep our little base. So what I'm going to do is take a little piece of a deco mesh roll. You can use a toilet paper roll, you could use a paper towel holder, and I just cut it down to the size. Let me trim it just a hair right here. I just cut it down to the size that would be right below this, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of super glue just around the bottom. I'm going to set that in there right like that. Okay, and then the next thing is, let me see if I brought it. I did not. Looks like I forgot it on my table, so we're just going to improvise here. I'm going to take a piece of cardboard. So in my shop, or the one I used for the other design, I just used a foam sheet. But I forgot my foam sheet. So we're going to have to make this work. Let me see if I have a pen. I do not. So I'm just going to kind of use my scissors just to kind of mark the circle. So we'll just cut this out. So again, I just used a piece of foam board or a foam sheet. Either one will work. Make sure this is a good size, and it is. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's gonna get covered up. So I'm going to take my super glue again. So I'm going to run it along the outside edges. Just going to run it all the way around the outside edges. And I just got super glue in my fingers, which I hate because it is so hard to come off. Okay, so I'm going to let that set for just a second. And then we're going to take a styrofoam ball. So you can get these styrofoam balls lots of different places. Walmart, Hobby Lobby. This is I think it's a 3-inch ball. 3 or 4, let's see. I cut part of it off, so I guess that didn't help. I want to say it's like a 3-inch ball, but whichever size will fit here. Doesn't have to go all the way to the edge because we're going to be building it up. So I'm going to go ahead and I took this foam ball and I just cut the bottom just so it'll sit flat like that. We're going to take and just add some more super glue. Actually, hang on. I got ahead of myself. Before we add the super glue, we're going to go ahead and cover it in clay. I got excited. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use we'll use the mint on the bottom. On the other one, we put pink on the bottom, so I'm just going to alternate the colors. So let me get some of my clay. There goes my glue. And I'm just going to go ahead and massage it Just condition my clay. You always want to make sure you condition your clay pretty good before you start working with it. Just helps, one, it helps when you're working with it, but two, it also helps prevent the cracking. Doesn't eliminate it. It can still crack, but it just helps in getting some of those air bubbles out too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I just have my little rolling pin up here. So I'm going to go ahead and just roll this out. I wish I would have brought my bigger one. So again, we're just going to roll it, and I'll show you the thickness here in just a second. Okay, I'm just working to get all the little bubbles out. Flip it over. Let's do this side. Okay, let's see if this is going to be big enough to go around. I think it will be. Yeah. Okay. So before I put that on there, we are going to add a little bit of super glue to the styrofoam ball. So I'm going to take our styrofoam, we're just going to add some super glue, and this just kind of keeps the clay from puffing up, kind of makes it stick to the styrofoam. So carefully, without getting it on my fingers. And that's about how thick I have it, so not too thick, but not super thin either. I'm just going to place it over my ball, and I'm just going to start using the sides of my hand just to kind of shape it. Making sure that I'm pushing down with the palms of my hand, not my fingertips, because I don't want fingerprints on it. Okay. Pretty good. So now I'm going to cut some of this off. We don't need all this excess. And we're just going to set this aside because we're going to use that in a second. I'm just going to push this clay up onto the ball here. Okay, and I'm just going to go back around again and kind of shape it. There we go. Don't worry about the bottom too much. It's going to be covered, so it doesn't have to be super smooth. Okay. And now we're going to take and put our super glue. I'm going to take our super glue and we're going to go ahead and place our little ice cream scoop right there in the center. Just kind of get it where you want it. Okay. So now we have our little scoop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work on filling in the outside. So you can do this a couple different ways. You could roll your clay into like a worm, put it around, texturize it. You could, if you didn't want to use clay, if you wanted to go a little bit different route, you could get some of this like fluff that you see at Easter time, the pink and the green. You could get this fluff, take some hot glue and kind of put that around. That would be cute too. But we're going to do something a little different. We're just going to make a bunch of little balls. They don't have to be exactly the same size because we're going to mess them up when we start texturing them. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a few up. And then once I get enough to probably go around the outside, we're going to add some super glue around the outside just to have something for these to stick to. It'll stick to the clay, but it won't just stick to the cardboard. So we want to make sure we get some super glue down. So let me do a few more and then we'll get started on that part. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take my super glue again, and I'm just going to go around the edges. And I'm just going to add the super glue so our clay has something to stick to. And I'm going to go ahead and just start pushing this clay on there. Just right next to each other. All the way around. We're going to add a couple layers of these, so now if I didn't have quite enough, ugh, I'm gluing my fingers. Okay, let's do a couple more. Okay, so we have our first layer around. Now I'm going to go do another layer. We're going to do one on the bottom. Now this will stick to our clay that we just put on there. So I'm just going to go around. Before I do that, let's just make a bunch of these up. Again, these do not have to be the same size. We're going to be giving them texture and smushing them. So it's okay if they're not exactly the same size. And this takes just a little bit of time. That's why I was saying you could do it. If you didn't want to sit here and do this method, there's so many different ways. They have molds that you can buy to get, if you wanted it a cute little decorative edge. You could just do a worm. Again, you could use the fluff. So many different ideas. So I'm going to just start pushing these. All on here. We're just covering up going in between and covering up that cardboard. Let's do a few more. You can definitely skip this part, fast forward. In the video, I'll put a little timer so you guys know when I get done to this part, if you just want to fast forward to finishing this, because this does take a little bit of time. Not too long though. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to start going in and doing some, we're not going to do I'm going to like skip every other one. So let me get a little bit more clay. So I'm going to give it a little bit more spacing on this top than I did on the bottom. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Almost done with this part. Okay, so I have one here. I'm just going to kind of skip one. I'm going to put one there, skip one, put one there, skip one. So I'm just kind of skipping. If you wanted to do every one, you definitely could. No right or wrong way to do that. Okay, so now we have all of those on there. And the next thing I'm going to do is take my, you could take a toothbrush, a clean toothbrush, guys, not a used one. But I'm just going to take a paintbrush. We're just going to start smushing this. This is going to give it that texture that we want. And that's why I said they don't have to be like exactly the same size, because we're just messing it all up. Okay, so I'm just going to go all the way around. You can do as much or as little as you want on the texture. And I'm just kind of pushing up a little bit too on the bottom. Kind of push this up a little bit, just going all the way around, and I'm making sure that I'm kind of smushing them together so you don't see any like gaps. Almost done with this part. Get it just how you like it. Pretty good. Now I'm going to take, and I'm going to also just kind of dab my ice cream and give it some texture too. Ice cream is not completely smooth, right? Of course, this is not a realistic fake bake design. It is a very whimsical, but just to give it some texture. Okay. So we have our cute little ice cream. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add our topper. So we're going to do our topper in the pink. So let me go ahead and just massage my clay. And you can freehand this if you want. It is not the thing that I do the best. I'm not very good at the freehand, so I'm just going to use my cookie cutter. If you get these little air bubbles, just pop them. And I will definitely have to bring my other rolling pin up here because this one is too little. Okay. So I'm going to take just my flower cookie cutter and I'm just going to okay. now I'm just going to take and roll it out a little bit with my rolling pin. Can't talk today, guys, sorry. Okay. Just kind of clean the sides up a little bit. And then I'm going to just place that on top. You could use brown if you wanted to do a chocolate effect. I'm just doing my colors, which is the mint and pink. I just love those colors. Those are my brand colors, so thought we'd go with that. We are still going to use this. We're going to add a couple drippings. I can go ahead and add the top ones, but I'm going to wait on the bottom ones because we're still going to be holding this. And I didn't wait the last time. I went ahead and did this part first, and then I was fighting with those little drippings. So just going to roll this out just a little bit more. And again, you could use a little piece and roll it into a ball. And then just kind of create your own teardrop shape if you wanted. I'm going to use this little teardrop cookie cutter. And we're just going to put a couple of these on there. So I've got one going up. Let's do one going down. Let's do one more. Okay. So our clay is still fresh, so it's sticking. We don't need to use super glue. I'm going to set this aside because we will use that again here in just a minute to make some more drippings down on the cone part. But I want to wait till we get done. So now I'm going to take some of our white clay and we're just going to make a worm. Let's see, let me get a little bit more. Okay, just going to massage it really good. And we're going to go ahead and add our little topping, our little topper. So I'm just going to make a worm. You can make it as thick or as small as you want it. Mine's going to be a little chunky. And I'm not the best at rolling out my worms, but with practice it has gotten a little better. So if you get frustrated, don't give up. It does get better, I promise. I'm still not perfect, but much better than when I first started working with the clay. Okay. Just going to cut this little piece off here. And now I'm just going to take in the center and I'm just going to start working my way up with it. You can make it as tall or short, however you want it. And now we have our little whipped cream, our little spiral up there, super cute. Okay. Now let's go ahead and add our little face. Let me see which one area I want in the front. Probably right here. So I'm going to get my black clay. If you didn't want to use clay, you could use like puffy paint or even just acrylic paint to make your eyes. But I'm just going to take a little bit of our black I'm going to make 2 balls, and I am going to make these, try to make these pretty similar in size. They're never quite exact, but okay, there's one. Let's do our second one. Okay. Now I'm just going to kind of use my finger and just kind of push down. You guys ignore my ugly fingernails. I meant to do them this weekend, but I was sick with a sinus infection and did not get them done. Okay, so we have our little eyeballs. Now let's add our little cheeks. So I'm just going to take 2 little pieces of pink, make a little ball again. Give them some little cheeks. If you didn't want to use the clay, you could use paint, or you can use makeup, like blush. And just... Okay, so we got the little cheeks. Now let's take and make the mouth. So I made the mouth a little different on that one, and I'm trying to see if I want to, I kind of think I want to do this mouth a little different than that one. I don't know, let's see. Let's just keep them the same, just in case I sell it. They'll be similar. I really want to keep them, but I may end up selling it. So I'm just going to push this down. I'm going to take my little teardrop. Okay, now I'm going to take a piece of the pink. I'm just using that to kind of give me a little bit of the same shape. Okay, we have our little mouth. Now I'm going to take just some dimensional fabric paint. You could use puffy paint, and I'm just going to add the little eyeballs. Hopefully this doesn't splatter. There we go. Super cute. Okay. Now let's go ahead, and I'm going to take the spoon, and let's add some of our mint in the spoon, like it's our ice cream there. I don't worry about it being too, just kind of, you know, it's ice cream, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of smush it in there. Actually, before we do that, let's add a little bit of super glue just so that it doesn't come out. Okay, now let's push our ice cream in there. I left it kind of messy. It's like a scoop of ice cream. Now we're going to take our tacky glue. You can use, if you don't want to use tacky glue, you can use Mod Podge as well. But when you're using sprinkles, sometimes the Mod Podge sometimes the tacky glue will help the sprinkles stay a little bit better than the And I meant to bring another paintbrush for the glue, and I didn't, so we'll just use this one. So I'm just going to kind of paint that clear tacky glue on there. And add our sprinkles. Add whatever kind of sprinkles that you like. So we have our little scoop. Now we're going to do the same thing up here on our pink area. Just going to paint on this tacky glue, and then we'll add our sprinkles. And again, you can use Mod Podge if you want. Okay, I'm just going to take my sprinkles just kind of put our sprinkles on there. Now we're going to do the same thing around, and I messed his little eye up, so I'm going to have to fix it when this dries. I'll have to add another little dot. But I'm going to add tacky glue all to this part down here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add our sprinkles. And I will go back after the video, after this dries just a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and seal all the way around our little ice cream. But I'm just going to do the sprinkle part with you guys. Okay, so now we just add our sprinkles. These would be super cute for like a birthday party, tier tray decor. You could do Candyland for like Christmas. You can put them in wreath as a wreath attachment. Super cute. Okay, so we have our sprinkles. The last thing that we're going to do, again, like I said, I will go back and finish sealing all of that in a little bit, but let's add our little drippings to our cone part. So again, I'm going to use my little, teardrop cookie cutter. Let me just cut a few of these. Let's do like one more. Okay. Now we're going to get our super glue and try to be extra careful so that we don't get it on our fingers. It's easier said than done. See, I just got it on my table. I'm just gonna push that. Let me try to wipe this before. Oh. Okay. So I'm gonna try to carefully. And you will need to add super glue. You could use probably tacky glue too. You just need some sort of glue to adhere it to the plastic. So let's do one here. So I'm just going to put them kind of sporadic around. You can always add some sprinkles to your drippings if you want. I didn't on that one, but you definitely can. You can make it however you want to make it. Okay, so there we have it. See if I can touch it without getting a mess. So we have our super cute little ice cream fella. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick tutorial. Again, I'm gonna let this dry a little bit so I can handle it more, and then I'm gonna go back and seal all of this part. I'm gonna fix his little eye and put some sealer up on this. Until next time, bye guys.